Good morning, boys and girls. So today we're going to be talking about friendships, okay, during our little story time. Who has a friend in this class, maybe outside this class, but who has a person that they would call their friend? Raise your hand. Good, just about everybody, right? We all have friends. All right, so today, during our story time, we're going to really be focusing on these two friends in this book. And I want you guys to be looking out for their characteristics, the setting, and the plot of this story, okay? Now, who knows what plot means? Ben, what do you think plot means? Okay, good. So the plot is the main events of the story, right? And what about the setting? Sarah, do you know the setting? Okay, yes, so the setting is where the story takes place. And then what about you, Alma? What does the characteristics mean? Okay, so that's the features or the qualities that make up a person, right? Alright, so today we're going to be reading This Way, Charlie. Does anybody see this cover book? What do they see on this? What do they think this is going to be about? A friendship? Okay, I did say that earlier. We were talking about friendships, okay? And who are these two characters? What is this? We see a horse and a goat. Okay, good. So we're going to see what this horse and this goat do in this book, right? This Way, Charlie, by Karen Levis, illustrated by Charles Santoso. Okay, what do we see on this first page? How can this first page help us out? Alright, we see a horse, good, and a little tractor, truck thing. And then what about this building back here? That's a house. And can anybody have an idea about what this red one is in the corner? Maybe a barn, right? We'll see. Jack watched the new animals scamper, hop, lap, and trot their way into open Bud Ranch. Some would stay a short while, and others longer. A few might make the ranch their home, like Jack had when he needed a safe and caring place to live. Open Bud Ranch had space for all kinds, and all kinds of space to heal, rest, and grow. Everyone could see that Jack liked keeping his space to himself. Okay. Jack liked keeping his space to himself. Who do we think Jack is? Cheyenne, who do you think Jack is? The goat, right? Because he's all the way in the corner by himself. Good. Let's find out. Everyone except Charlie. When Charlie arrived, he didn't see Jack at all. Hey, bleated Jack. Pardon me, neighed Charlie. Okay. So we think Jack is the goat, which would make sense because what animal neighs? Who knows which animal neighs? Show of hands. Don't just scream answers out. Mandy? Yeah, a horse neighs. Good. Jack could tell from how Charlie swerved this way but not that way that Charlie could only see out of one of his eyes. Antonia explained that once in a while, for different reasons, blindness happened. She couldn't mend Charlie's sight like she had the eagle's broken wings, or release him into the wild like the possums once they'd grown, but she could give Charlie time to see in his own new way. Antonia said everybody deserves plenty of food, love, and patience. She couldn't mend Charlie's sight. What do we think the word mend means? She couldn't mend his sight. Like she had the eagle's broken wings. What do we think? Ricky? Fix? Okay, that makes sense. She couldn't fix his blindness like she had the wings, right? By now, Jack knew this ranch gave plenty of fresh hay, groomed with soft brushes, and always trimmed hooves slowly. Still, he didn't want anything to get too close, too quick, or too loud. So Jack stepped back and he watched out for Charlie. Charlie whinnied to everyone in a cheerful way, switched his tail, snorted, and stopped to sniff the honeysuckles the same way Jack liked to. He chewed thoughtfully and followed the sunlit patches as if he wanted to get to know the whole place. What can we say about Jack compared to Charlie? We know Jack likes to be alone, right? But it looks like Charlie likes to go around other people. He doesn't like to be alone. He likes hanging out with everyone. But Charlie couldn't go very far on his own. Sometimes he bumped in an oops way, not a pushing way. A lot of times he stood still in a lost way. Jack noticed Charlie's eye had a soft glow, like the moon, which often guided Jack when he felt lost in the dark. He wondered what Charlie used for the moon. Some mornings, Charlie pawed at a dry patch of dirt. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Hungry, thought Jack, or scared, maybe lonely. One day, Jack took an extra deep breath of honeysuckles, in for sweet, out for brave. This way, Charlie, he said, and he showed him the way to his favorite field. They grazed and bathed in the sunlight. What? So we thought Jack liked to be alone, right? But he called Charlie out. He wanted to go hang out with Charlie at his favorite place, right? The next day, Jack did it again. This way, Charlie. Jack walked a little ahead on Charlie's seeing side. He slowed down where the trail got steep, stopped when they reached fresh water, and when it got too hot, he called Charlie toward the shade. Hey, Jack called. Hay is for horses, Charlie called back. Soon the next day became every day. Walk, graze, sunbathe, return. Sometimes a quiet like warm milk filled the space between them. Other times Jack asked Charlie questions about swinging a long tail, about galloping, being so tall, going blind, about bugs, plants, and clouds, about the ranch, the world, and sometimes about dreams. The way I see it, Charlie would answer, and Jack would listen. On cold and wet mornings, instead of going to their place, Jack guided Charlie to the barn. Charlie would step in, but Jack always stayed out. He wanted to go where it looked peaceful and dry, but his body remembered a different barn from long ago that wasn't calm or kind. Oh no. Look how sad he looks. Doesn't Jack look really sad right there? Charlie couldn't make the rain or the past disappear, but he could show Jack how kindness moves, sounds, and waits for skies to clear, and new memories to take shape. Charlie could give Jack an inside. Outside. Boom! Crack! Do you get scared of things you can't see? Jack asked Charlie. All the time, Charlie told Jack. But the way I see it, that's what a friend like you is for. Friend. Jack chewed the word over like a mouthful of fresh, sweet grass. Now that looks like friendship, right? The horse is covering the little goat so he doesn't get wet, right? As days went by, Charlie began walking more and more slowly. Then, one day, he stopped. He couldn't see out of either of his eyes now, so Jack moved closer into the center of the pack. This way, Charlie. Yes, this way, Jack? They kept walking, one hoof in front of the other, until it felt like Jack's steps were Charlie's and Charlie's steps were Jack's. Once, when the other goats went galloping by, Charlie said, "We could play with them today." Jack trembled. "Or maybe with the new fawns?" Charlie asked. "Or the new raccoon?" "I can't." Making new friends gave Jack a bumpy feeling. "Let's just say hello, the way I see it." "No, you don't see. You can't see." That was really mean. Why did he just snap on Charlie like that? Charlie was surprised. So was Jack. He hadn't meant to snap. So quick, so loud, so close. A new kind of quiet filled the space between them. It felt like a swallow dry air. rotten grass rumbling around their insides. Maybe that's why they didn't notice the sky was rumbling too. Boom! Crack! Rain came pouring down so fast and thick that Jack couldn't see Charlie. Wind howled so loud that Charlie couldn't hear Jack. Trees bent, fell, and tangled, trapping Charlie. Jack tried this way and that way, but there was no way in and no way out. So Jack ran. Where do we think Jack's running to? Anybody have an idea? It says he ran. Do we think he's going home to find some shelter because it's raining? No? What do you guys think? Madison? You think he's gonna go help Jack? Or go help Charlie? Let's see. Jack ran and ran for Charlie. He bleated to all the animals for Charlie. Jack banged at doors, found Antonia, and urged everyone to follow him closely. This way, Charlie! You were right. The mud was thick and the branches were strong, but the whole ranch working together was stronger. Finally, Charlie was free. Jack led the way inside. This way, friends. Everybody huddled together. Jack whispered, "I'm sorry," and Charlie whispered, "Thank you." The barn filled with all kinds of snores, dreams, and a quiet that neither Charlie nor Jack could see, but both could feel was splendid and warm. Like the sun that rose the next morning. They walked that day, the next day, and every day for the rest of their lives, one hoof in front of the other. This way, Charlie. This way. The end. And what do we notice at the very end? What's that picture? Right. So at the end, we see all of the animals playing together. So it looked like Jack kind of loosened up and he started hanging out with everybody at the barn, right? All right, who liked that book? Everybody? Good, I'm glad. Okay, now you guys are going to go back to your seats and you guys are going to discuss the 3 things we talked about. Plot, characteristics, and setting. All right, thanks, guys.